CM Punk, man, a name that has been screamed by millions and millions of fans. Not a needle mover, according to some people in the WWE, allegedly. But man, he's back. 7 long years. Look, this has been the rumor for a long ass time. But for me, I need to see it to believe it. I was not going to believe, even if his music hit. I need to see him go on that ramp, walk away into the ring, and have that moment. And man, dude, I gotta be honest with you, brother. I almost shed a tear. I was this close of breaking just to see this guy
But
back in.
almost,
Almost,
almost, you
almost,
son of
almost.
a bitch,
I almost
you
fucking
kept it
cracked.
together.
I kept it together just for a bit, just because I was just so
I
happy. I was almost that guy in the stands. I was like bawling his eyes
that
out,
was
reaching his
balling,
hands
man.
out. I felt that. I felt
The
that.
dreamer kid.
The dreamer kid, yeah, the one that Tommy was just defending the hell out of. And I'm like, that's cool, man. Hey, he gets to meet and greet CM Punk. So kudos to him. That's where emotions take you nowadays. But Rossi,
Oh yeah,
what did you think, man? CM Punk is back in professional wrestling,
and it feels weird even saying it,
right?
acknowledging
Yeah.
it, like you said, like you had to see it to believe it.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. It's like there's no other kind of word, and I think any wrestler, legend, current, going, whatever, and all fans aside, anybody that sits here and doesn't acknowledge what a big moment it
Mhm.
is absolutely wrong. It's a
Yeah.
huge moment. It would be a huge moment if anybody after that long of a time decided to come back to their profession, you know?
Absolutely.
Um, that being said, it was huge for CM Punk because it was something that everybody wanted.
Oh yeah.
So many people wanted to see CM Punk back in wrestling.
Yeah.
And not just to then do, an interview stuff or commentary. People wanted to see him wrestle again.
Hmm.
And it was always there. It was always an idea. It was always a chance,
Yep.
but no one was going to do it. Well, not no one. The big place wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
And like his promo says, he gave up and he left wrestling in 2005.
Yep.
Clearly because, and that's the thing, people love to jump over that saying, oh my God, he used his platform and opportunity to just shit on WWE. Number
Booker.
one, yeah. Number one, why wouldn't you use your platform to shit on your old boss after
Oh,
7 years? Especially after
yeah.
7 years.
Like he's kept his
After
silence for the longest time. And you got to realize that's one of the biggest reasons why he left the business to begin with. Why wouldn't you recap the reason why you're
exactly,
gone? Yeah.
exactly. And for every and all uh, employee that gets released and has gotten released and then goes on to any new company.
Yeah.
I don't care if all of their first promos are them talking shit on their old place. Good for them. They're airing their grievances. Good for
Mm-hmm.
them. You
Chip
know what
on
I
your
mean?
shoulder.
But I think that's the biggest thing with CM Punk. He really wasn't. He mentioned a couple things. If you are a fan and a fan of the entire time frame of his career, you understood what he was talking about.
Yeah.
You read
Easily.
between the lines. It made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But he was not just sitting there, shit talking this or
No.
that. He was explaining exactly how he always has, and it made sense, and it was great, and it was awesome to hear as well. It definitely made me, smile as a fan because I was
Yeah.
just like, oh man, like that's
Mm-hmm.
good, you know. Um, and it's very true, like he said, he left professional wrestling in 2005. Clearly, and anybody can understand, because he became a sports entertainer after that point.
Yeah.
He is
Easily.
not a sports entertainer. He
And
is a
WWE
professional wrestler.
and WWE would even say that themselves to this day. They would
Yep.
call themselves not a wrestling company. They call themselves a
Yeah.
sports entertainment company. So anybody that got mad at that line, don't get mad at Punk. That's what Vince and Nick Khan want to clarify. WWE, to them, they're above professional wrestling. They're Disneyland. They're an
Yeah.
entertainment company. So whatever Punk said was just rehashing what has been already told by Vince's company for the last few years. So I don't understand why anybody like Booker, who wants to be a bootlicker himself, which is fine. I get it. They pay your bills. You're on the Legends contract. They bring you every now and then to be on those pre-shows. But to sit there and be like, he only came out there and shitted on WWE and brought in the ice cream bars, he striked out. For one, then you didn't see it. You didn't watch the promo. You didn't take the time to actually watch it. I'm not surprised. Booker's fucking takes are usually shit anyways, and their consistency there. But
Like the last good thing Booker did was in 2002. Like, so I mean,
I mean, it's like, dude, I get it. You work for them. I understand that. But if you're gonna have your own wrestling show, try a little bit to not be
yeah,
completely biased to one company. Like, just keep your opinion, or at least watch it. Because if you're gonna have an opinion on it, at least be knowledgeable enough to know what the promo actually was. I got to give
yeah.
props to AEW and Tony Khan because they absolutely killed it. In my opinion, it's the greatest wrestling return of all time. It's the greatest wrestling return pop I have ever heard. In my opinion, it is on the level of the outsiders joining WCW. To me, it's changed the
And
landscape. Go for it.
and that was a lot. No, no, not to cut you off.
Go.
That was a big, thought and brought up from a lot of people
Mm.
concerning and talking about not just his, eventual debut,
Mm.
Daniel Bryan's eventual debut, with
Yeah.
some other release talent
Mm.
eventual debut. I get it. It's not it, and I think it's that gets lost on people because they hear that statement and they say, "Oh, well, how is it the same?" It's not the same. It's the same in the
It's the
sense
impact.
that it's exactly
Yeah.
the impact. It's the change of the culture. It's the
The
shock
moment.
of that
It's the
moment.
moment of them. It's the moment for wrestling. People hear that and they're like, you're comparing them to national. It's like, no, no, no. I'm not comparing them to that. I'm comparing the moment where the outsiders showed up in '96 WCW and changed the landscape of professional wrestling. It's on that level where CM Punk goes to AEW, and even though AEW was already on the map, it solidified them as not just competition, but as one of the biggest wrestling companies in the world because it
Yeah,
blew past the wrestling marks and the wrestling community. That moment for CM Punk, that's a household name. Like people that don't even watch wrestling regularly know that, oh shit, CM Punk's at this company now. You're going to bring in new fans. You're going to bring in new followers. You got ESPN, Sports Center, Barstool, et cetera, tweeting out that this CM Punk is back in wrestling and wrestling for AEW. So it has nothing to do with the actual pro wrestling, but it has to do with putting it on the map and the impact has to do as a for WWE entertainment value. That's the biggest thing for them. That moment is going to live for forever. That's the
yeah,
biggest impactful moment in wrestling in the last, I don't know what, I guess 7 years or 8, 9 years when he did the pipe bomb. I mean, it's
yeah,
it's that big of a moment. So when I bring up the outside, I'm just saying 96 WCW was legitimate, as was AEW at this moment. They get Hall and Nash, and that solidified the NWO, and that pushed them to being on the same level as WWF at the time. So with this Punk move, for me, it just tells me they're there. That's their moment. That's the moment where you're like, oh shit, this company that just had Kenny Omega and guys who weren't big as WWE stars, now they're on that same playing field. That's what Punk brings to all elite wrestling. What they did was phenomenal. I love what they did. As I said before, all the teases could have really backfired if they really didn't land CM Punk. They had to
yeah,
have him in that building because that would have backfired terribly. Having it at the United Center, calling it the first dance, having that Chicago crowd ready. And by the way, I love the fact that they just started the show like that.
That
Why
was
make
that
people
was
wait?
bold. That
Yeah,
was
just
bold.
starting it off, the second ever AEW Rampage, right after SmackDown. And it starts with CM Punk in the United Center in Chicago. I don't think anybody else couldn't have written a better story or any type of way to bring that guy back. That was literally perfection. You can see it in his face that he's legitimately happy to be
Oh
back.
yeah,
You brought up the line. He left professional wrestling when he left Ring of Honor. Now, like you said, I'm back in August 21st, 2021. I'm back. That moment in itself is going to live on forever. And that
yeah,
moment to me is not changing of the guard, but for the first time since '96 WCW, another wrestling company that isn't Vince McMahon owned has all the momentum. So it was one of those moments, dude, where we're really gonna remember looking back at that, being like, holy shit. Now I hope to God AEW doesn't have the Titanic WCW move where they just fucking let the wrestlers completely take over and then just
yeah.
tank that shit to the ground. I am making the comparison, but I don't want it to end up the same way. and I don't think they will. I think they have a lot of good people in that front office that have learned from the past mistakes. But it is interesting, man. It was probably one of the coolest months I've ever seen. Hearing Colt's personality, that was
Yeah.
awesome, unbelievable. To me, it's still so surreal. Seeing that tonight on Wednesday, fucking CM Punk's AEW Dynamite debut, being interviewed by Tony Schiavone on TNT in a pro wrestling ring. That's fucking insane. That is
Yep.
nuts. And like you said, who knows, man? If Daniel Bryanson shows up, holy fuck. If Bray gets there, and fucking if Adam Cole gets there. Changing of the guard, man. Changing of the guard. I think with WWE, they've left what made them cool in the 90s and the early 2000s. They're not professional wrestling anymore. It's all about entertainment for them, and that's sort of starting to backfire finally.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing as well too. Of you know, I've said it for years now, and I'm not the only one.
Mm,
But it's really refreshing to see and realize once again that WWE is not the holy grail
yeah,
of the professional wrestling world. WWE is not the only place to go to or that you need to get to.
or make
There
money
are
at.
many people that have never stepped foot in WWE. There are people that have never signed a contract with WWE and are doing great.
Yeah,
It only goes to show that you just have someone that bets on you as much as you bet on yourself, you're good. You
mm,
don't have to sign yourself away to a company.
no,
And all these past wrestlers, like I said, can go on their first promos and talk shit if that's what it looks like to other ones. But the ones that are working for WWE still, you're still cashing a check. So who gives a shit?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Booker
Well,
T, who cares?
then Punk said it best during the pipe bomb. He just spoke on the wheel. The wheel keeps turning. He could leave, and people are still
Exactly.
going to milk that company. They're still going to put money into it. So it's never going to be the end of them. It's always going to just be the way they do things. I've said it many times. The problem with WWE isn't their roster. It's not a talent problem. It's the fuck who Vince thinks makes a star in 2021. It's what
Yeah.
Vince thinks what should be on an entertainment network or show. This guy hasn't made a star in how long? And before anybody comes to scream, well, Roman Reigns. No, Roman Reigns, for years they tried and failed. It took him, God bless him, for using the COVID thing to his advantage to be like, if I'm coming back during COVID, I'm gonna get Paul Heyman and I'm gonna do my own fucking thing and I'm gonna go over. The imaginary Vince McMahon brass rings don't exist. Even Becky
No.
Lynch made herself by herself because of the fans. I'm not a fan of Becky, but she did that on her own. The company was more invested in Charlotte and Ronda at the time, and the crowd chose Becky. That wasn't a Vince McMahon product. That was the wrestler taking it upon themselves to go over. CM Punk did the same thing. Daniel Bryan did the same thing. And Vince, at the end of the day, hates that shit. It's the same problem with
Yep.
NXT. He's
Oh
envious
yeah.
of a company that he fucking owns on a network that he owns, putting people over because Hunter understands wrestling in 2021 and he doesn't. So by the time they come to the main roster, he doesn't fucking get it because he doesn't watch. He's never watched. He's never cared. He's never even given two shits about it.
Like Karen Cross is looking really good right now,
Oh,
man.
you mean S&M fucking carrying cross
Yeah.
with his beautiful helmet and his little
He
red.
he joined. I didn't know he joined Demolition until recent, so it's really cool to see.
Boring as fuck as it is, and they just made it 10 times worse. I don't know. You know what? Bravo to them though for making it even worse. His entrance, his look, his style. It's like, ow, it
Yeah, I
was
didn't think they
already
could
boring.
do. I didn't think they could do any worse than that. They topped it,
Somehow
so
they did.
good for them. Really proud of them for that one. No, it's very true. Like you
Yeah.
said, it's just Vince doesn't understand shit.
No.
I people yell at me all the time. Good. Vince is fucking outdated.
Mm-hmm.
He's outlasted longer than he should, and he needs to go. He needs to get out. He needs to
Yeah.
be put down. I don't know. Someone just take him out back, old Yeller style.
And that doesn't seem to
And
be like a solution, especially with Nick Khan there. It looks like more so that
oh,
Nick Khan has more say than Hunter, which is a wild take because we all
which is
assumed
horrible.
at some point that Hunter would be the guy to take over. If anything, nowadays it looks like Hunter's being punished because he made a wrestling company or a program in WWE that was better than whatever fucking Vince and Pritchard and that shithole of a creative team has been doing for the last few years. when it comes to Vince, you're right though. I don't understand how anybody could logistically sit here and argue with you about that. And again, I bring it up.
Yeah.
Tell me the last star he made. Tell me the last big person that he took naturally, like an Austin, like a Sean, like a Brett, like an Eddie, et cetera, et cetera. Guys that he took and made them into stars. Tell me the last person in the last 10 years that he's actually taken and actually naturally made. Everything that he does is either he brings back relics from the past, like a Bill, who looked fucking awful this last weekend, but brought him back anyways. Why? Because I can't have Bobby Lashley face somebody like, I don't know, Adam fucking Cole. Too small. Let me bring back fucking HGH Bill Goldberg and his other HGH juiced up son, and we'll have them in a match with a guy like Bobby Lashley, who's been begging to have somebody other than Goldberg. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So anybody that argues with you about that shit, it's like, just watch this SummerSlam. That tells you enough. I look, by the way, I love Brock Lesnar. Always have, always will. Goro Brock Lesnar's my dude now. You know, the fucking ponytail. Fuck yeah, I love that
Sweet
shit.
sweet onion top, dude. That's good, man.
He looks in the best shape in his life. I'm always going to be a fan of Brock. But at the same time, you got other people in that roster, man. Roman goes against John Cena. John's gone. Back to Hollywood. Time to finish the Peacemaker movie. Brock's there for what? The Saudi show? Then Brock's gone again? And then the rest of your roster looks like shit because you haven't done anything with them. There's nobody else after Brock and Cena. Who else is there? Same with Monday Night Raw. Damian Priest, great guy. Used to hate him. He's trying to get like really good lately. Really like his push. Same time, I really expect him to really pull it off. Cool. He's the U.S. champion. Usually, when it comes to NXT talents, that's as far as it goes. Is now
Yeah.
with Bill gone, it's like, what the fuck? Are you going to run it back with Drew McIntyre? You kind of already killed that way too many times. So again, as I brought up many times, it's not a roster problem. It's the creative team in WWE. You got nothing but TV, soap opera, ridiculousness, TV writers from MTV writing wrestling programs and scripts. It's never going to work that way. It never has and never will.
No, I agree, and that's top tier problem is trusting people that have no idea how to work in the product.
Yeah.
And they're trusting them more than they should. So it's kind of a hit or miss right off the bat, and you're like, okay, I guess this is why top talents are being either fired or are being,
Underutilized.
underutilized to the point when their contracts are up, they're not signing with you. They're not
No.
doing anything. And then you get to sit there and say within the span of 3 to 4 months, you lost names like Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Adam Cole, and Bray Wyatt. And
Yeah.
now possibly add to that list of already names that have showed up, Aleister Black, possibly now Buddy Murphy, Andrade,
which is insane, man. How do you get one of the best Mexican talents in the world and you fucking it up? Like how? I don't understand that. And there's more to come. Even the people they just released from NXT, Bronson Reed. I thought that motherfucker was gonna kill it. But there's a big guy.
Yep.
There's a guy that Vince usually likes. He has some athletic moves. It's pretty good. Has some solid matches with Johnny Gargano, and now he's free to go wherever the fuck he wants. I'm like, I hope you do end up in AEW or Impact. Do something. Go fucking make a career out of yourself. There is no such thing at the imaginary brass Vince McMahon ring. Just go do it yourself. Like, you'll be fine. And like you said, you bring up that list, and they're killing it where they're at now. That's what makes me laugh. Like Malachi, Tommy End, him and Cody killed it. That match was fantastic. The way they booked this motherfucker right now, I have no complaints. That's the way he should have always been booked. That's the way Hunter saw it. All the guys that they've released are guys that Hunter was high on in NXT. And it's just like, it just feels like that it's subliminal type of message where it's like, I didn't make them. Well, no shit, but they're still under your temple. And if that doesn't say more why Vince should sit down, I don't know what else. I can understand why he could have vendetta with ECW wrestlers, and he did, or vendetta with WCW guys, which you did, except Bill for whatever fucking reason. But it's like under your own fucking temple. Like, you're gonna have a vendetta under guys who made their names under Hunter. Like, that's just fucking insane to me. But it is what it is. To bring it back to Punk, what do you think about him going against Darby at All Out?
I think it makes sense for a first match. In the sense that you're throwing that old, not so much old school, but new school way of wrestling with that really new school way of wrestling.
Mm,
You almost have CM Punk as he was the new school version of it at a time,
mm.
now going up against an even newer school version of it. Um, I think it'll be a good match. I don't know honestly who's going to come out the winner. I could see it go either way, to be completely honest. Um, so we'll see. But I think it'll be a decent first match. I think it, again, as it goes with his first debut match and feud and doing whatever,
Mhm.
I think it makes sense. I'm interested in seeing what he does after.
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing who they make him work with after. So I guess we'll see.
Do they
But
pull
I
the
mean,
trigger like on the title match, or they just fucking milk that till next
like
fucking?
pushing him to go against Kenny. You mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
because to me,
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
yeah, you have CM Punk. Obviously, you have to get him if he's available. To me, that's now the hardest thing for them moving forward is like, how do we book this guy? Because he's obviously, and no offense to anybody at AEW, but it's like he's the face of the company now. To me, hands down. I love Kenny. I think Kenny Omega is the best wrestler right now in the business. I just think that guy's talent at his age, how long he's been doing it, is just he's the best. He's top tier. Um, and we just, Punk has been gone for a long time. Like he even said, he hasn't even been fucking training for wrestling. And we saw the pictures today on Instagram. He's working out with Tommy End, which I'm like, that's fucking awesome, man. I'm like,
I felt like seeing like my like two split personalities sit next to each other. That was scary, man.
and it was so perfect. It's like that's what you want to see. Fucking Tommy and CM Punk. If anybody's gonna get CM Punk's training wheels off, it's gonna be Tommy End. That motherfucker is one of the best wrestlers in the world as well. But it's like at the moment, mainstream wise, it's CM Punk. He's the face of the company, and that's how it's gonna be moving forward. And that's gonna be not a problem for AEW, but it's gonna be interesting to see how they book them along the way. I look at Christian Cage, who's already got the Impact title now. He's going against Kenny at All Out. It's only been like probably 2-3 months. I think June or May was the pay per view where Christian debuted, or maybe even before that.
Yeah,
So like
I think so.
I could see them pulling that CM Punk world title picture. It would just make too much sense. I don't know if, especially with Kenny being an EVP, I could just see that kind of being like the push where they're like, let's just give him the belt at this point. Why not give it to him? The other question is with Daniel Bryan, do we see Punk and Bryan team up at any point, do their own little fucking thing? I mean,
Um, I don't know. I mean, AEW, the one thing I'm not like knocking them, but the one
mm,
thing they absolutely can be talked about is their love for stables and
mm,
teams,
a little bit too
and
many, but yeah.
so a little bit.
Mm,
I don't know, and I think that's a big talk right now too of the way things are going about in terms of the hirings and the firings and the let goes and the releases.
mm,
I think it gives a lot of room to say, are certain people going to show up together? Are certain people going to show up on their own? What is going to happen?
yeah,
Um, I don't know. I think it could work out a number of ways. I think it could work out completely fine if everybody's on their own,
mm,
doing different stuff. I would be interested to see how it works if you do have some of these guys team up together or in
yeah,
their own type of stable of sorts. Um, I don't know. I I think honestly at this point, whatever way they do things, I'm gonna be kind of interested. Not kind of. I'm gonna be interested. I'm gonna be kind of shocked
yeah,
if they do certain things because I don't know what I specifically see it going as.
yeah.
So I
Where they
think whatever,
fit in that like
yeah.
raw. The
So
rumor I will tell
whatever,
you, and I want to get your reaction for this with Daniel. From what I've heard, it's going to happen all out. Like that's where he's debuting. A lot of people thought it was going to be the New York show, which would have made sense because that's a massive building, but they're going to do it at all out. The one other rumor I have heard is him starting a stable with Daniel Garcia in 2.0.
I mean, definitely not the idea that I would have thought. But then
Yeah,
again, if he's trying to somehow start his own thing in whatever way, whether he's the heel, I'm assuming at that point.
yeah,
I don't know. If it works, it works. I'd be kind of But then again, like I said, like it's not like it's necessarily me thinking that it's going to be a bad thing or not be executed well.
Mm,
It's just me sitting here kind of saying like, oh, that's the route they went. Okay,
yeah,
let's see where it goes. That's about it. Like it could be
yeah.
really good, could
Be-
not be.
because like let's say they get Bray, it's gonna be Dark Order. It would have to be, right? Or like he would have to beef with
I would
them
think
or
so.
join them or do some sort of fucking thing with them. It would just make sense because of everything. Unless he goes to Impact, which is the rumor of today that Impact is like
Yeah.
making the biggest push to sign Bray Wyatt and bring him that, which would make sense because they've had success with guys that have that type of personality. Obviously, Matt made a name for himself, rejuvenated himself
Yep.
doing sort of characters that way in Impact. So I can understand why they would have interest in it. I can understand why Bray would want to go there. Obviously, he would be probably. I mean, I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't think it is, but he would be the biggest fucking talent in Impact if he landed in Impact and brought that character.
Right now, absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a. If someone wants to call it a hot take, call it a hot take, but you're fucking stupid if you say otherwise. Like, because the second biggest star in Impact as of recent was Kenny Omega. He's not even an Impact wrestler.
now it's Christian Cage probably, which
Now
is
it's
not
Christian
even an
Cage.
Impact wrestler.
Very true.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
yeah.
Depends. But I know Buddy Murphy is supposedly Buddy Matthews now, if people know of him.
Mm-hmm.
Is being said to have a big play from Impact trying to get him as well. So we'll see.
That's mini Kenny right there. I mean, I think that he would
I
be.
mean, absolutely could be done. Yeah.
I think he would be a massive star on Impact. That's the guy that has. I don't know how well he would be on the mic. I haven't heard enough of him on the mic to be like, I don't know what his promo game is. Wrestling
True.
wise, though, if he just shows up and wrestles, and it's on Impact, I'm not really looking for goddamn promo greatness on an Impact taping. If anything, watch Impact because I
No.
want to see somebody that's actually going to be decent enough if I ever do watch Impact. And to get Bray and Buddy, it's like I'll probably tune in more so than I would now. He would run circles around a lot of the guys that they build over there. Like, no offense to their talent level, but there's guys there that get pushes where I'm just like, that's interesting. They weren't really doing much anywhere else. You want to make them the number one contender all of a sudden. I'm like, fine, but it doesn't really work. You got somebody like Buddy. It's like that makes sense to me. This motherfucker can go when he's not in some weird cringy storyline with the Mysterios. Pretty fucking good wrestler.
Have you seen his vignettes that he's released on? Oh
Oh,
man, they're
the
good.
jail cell ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Have you seen the newest ones though?
No, I've only seen honestly the first one, and then people are
Okay,
complaining about it, but I haven't seen the rest.
you gotta check the last two. So I'm pretty sure he's done now. It's
Okay.
it's finished. There's the one where he's still in the jail cell and the guy's talking and they make the joke, which is I love like the analogies, but he says it's like it's been locked here for over 8 years, and they're like, oh my god, it's finally, and they're like, yeah,
Was
and
he
because of,
really in WWE for that fucking long?
yeah,
Oh my god.
isn't that right? But they're like, and because of his bad behavior, he has to serve out an additional 90-day sentence. And I'm like, oh man, they're really trying. But like, so at the end of the video, the guy that like gets him released, and so he's like, oh, here's some of your things. He drops like a crate down, and he goes through it, and he literally picks up his old outfit
Yeah.
with when he was with Rollins, and it
Oh
says the
shit.
Messiah, and
Oh, what the fuck?
he just drops it, and he picks up like an old toy of his and throws it down, but picks up like his tights that just say Murphy on it, and just looks at it and then drops it, and you see it like the name say like Buddy Murphy, and then it goes to Buddy Matthews. So
Cool.
I'm like, all right, man. And when they're talking about stuff, which is the other kind of throw is where I could easily still see him going to AEW, possibly, is they might still hook him up with Alistair or Malachi in some way, because in Malachi's videos when he was first coming out, they talked about the jail cell, they talked about the prison, this and that. They talked about him fighting with a inmate named Matthew. So they could be referring to Buddy. And in Buddy's video, they even say like, "Yeah, we lock up the worst people here. We even locked up the devil himself." Clearly, that could
That would make a
be
lot of sense, yeah. Because like
so.
the whole Malachi Black thing right now is him taking out the entire Nightmare family. So for him to like take them all out and then be like, I have my own family now, go the whole Charles Manson route, I'll be like,
Very
cool.
true.
That
Who
that would be a
knows?
great story arc for him. Spoiler, beat the shit out of Warren Anderson tonight, which I'm just like, oh fucking hey, dude.
Oh
Like
yeah,
beat the shit out. I'm like, good for Arn for taking the fucking bumps, man. Him and his son. I'm like, good for you guys. Him and
yeah.
DiBiase, man. That's how you fucking use legends nowadays.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. Like good for them for fucking taking that shit. But bringing up NXT, I've always known you as Mr. NXT, the guy who's always loved it, and rightfully so because at one point before AEW, to me that was the best wrestling program in professional wrestling by far. The takeovers were classic, the matches were classics, the build to it were just phenomenal. What Hunter did and what they did over there was just great. But now it looks like it's the rise and fall of NXT. And it
You
feels like
know,
it's a little too soon. Can't believe that's an actual thing that's happening. But by all reports, and if you listen to Nick Khan, who wants to make Raw 4 hours now, by the way, they're gonna rebrand or I guess reboot NXT. I would love to know your opinion, your thoughts, your feelings towards what is gonna essentially happen to NXT.
um, fuck, I gotta take a drink, please.
It's hard hitting, man.
It is, and I think the easiest way I could start it off is watching the last NXT show this past weekend.
Mm,
You felt it. You
yeah,
felt the change. Felt a cold. You felt different. Um, and it sucked. It was shit, man. I'm upset because absolutely a firm believer in. I think Triple H put all his heart and soul into this
yep.
and absolutely believed in it and still does believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
And to see how quickly, and people can argue, sure, some names on the main roster are doing well. They're not doing the greatest in some opinions, but they're doing well. Some of the likes of Shinsuke, Riddle right now,
Brittle, yeah.
Damian Priest.
Shocked about those two, honestly.
You know what I mean? So there are exceptions to the
Bianca
whole
Belair before
NXT
Becky came
curse
back.
before Becky decided to shit all over her life. Um, so it can happen, but it doesn't happen as often as it should, or as it could,
Hmm.
or as it would. And for those reasons, I'm always very upset when someone from NXT leaves, even if it's not someone that I'm necessarily a fan of, other
Yeah.
than Karrion Kross. I don't give a shit. Take it. Um, but
He won't last
anybody
long,
else?
man.
No, he won't. Not even
No.
remotely.
He'll be on main event by
Um,
the end of the month.
Sweet mask, dude. So I think it's upsetting. And also I don't know what they mean by this whole, oh, we're gonna rebrand it. It's gonna be this. We're done signing independent wrestlers. We're done doing this. Well, that just means that you're not signing any new people. So it's gonna be the people that are on the main rosters going down to NXT, or it's gonna be all the main people that are on NXT right now not going anywhere.
Mm.
Because eventually you still have to take the people from NXT. They have to get drafted. They have to move on
Yep.
somewhere, some point.
Yep.
Then who fills their spot in NXT if they're saying that they're not going to be hiring from the independent scene? Who are they hiring then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever. Unless
Because they cannot
hmm,
hire independent wrestlers who are on the indie scene, but they're hiring people that are training. That's not much better. That means you're hiring kids that are training and getting the process of learning it, but they're not out there living it.
which they did this weekend in Vegas. They just hired a bunch of people that tried out. And I'm just like,
Yep.
okay. Yeah.
So, um,
I don't get it either.
I
Like
don't know.
what other way can you rebrand NXT from where it is? It's a wrestling program. That's essentially what made NXT as great as it is. Unless you're gonna go back the route of the whole rookie fucking vet shit that they started in the beginning of NXT, which would just
Very
be
true.
awful as shit and just completely destroy everything that they had Hunter has built from the ground up. It would just I don't understand what they could possibly do to rebrand an already established company or program like NXT. I just don't see a way they would go. I've seen some reports being like, Gargano is going to be a top heel, Roderick Strong is going to be a top heel, Samoa Joe's going to be a top babyface. So I'm like, that's fine, but what's the rebrand then? Are you going to go more of the route of the main roster? Which again, I still think they should have never left the network. They should have never went to
No,
a
probably not.
network TV because as soon as they went to the USA Network, that's you could just see the seeds being planted where it's like Hunter wants to do this. Well, we don't really agree with this. We want this on our TV. And the complete shift of what made NXT special was just changed the instant that they were like, we're gonna go one-on-one against AEW. Wasn't needed, didn't have to happen. And it just completely killed whatever momentum that Hunter had built for NXT for like how long? Fucking almost 8 years, possibly, maybe even a decade of work
Yeah.
that he put into this company for people that he's built up. And all that was wiped away because Vince is like, you know what? You could beat AEW. And if you can't, well, then I'm just gonna get rid of it. That's what essentially it feels like. So I don't understand the rebrand. I don't understand where they can go with it. I understand them not signing independent stars. I know they want to sign that Olympian, forget what his name is, but they're like Vince is super high on him and he wants him on NXT. But it looks like it just feels like the end. It feels like everything that made NXT great is completely gone. And yeah, they'll still
Pretty
have
much.
Gargano and Joe, and Joe's champion. Thank God, that's an awesome moment. Happy for him that he went from being, ring commentary, from suspended to ring commentary to now the NXT champion. But that to me is like that's almost the final moment that of the old NXT, which sucks to say, man. The old NXT doesn't feel that fucking old to me. Doesn't feel like that fucking revisionist history that I'm like, that was such a long fucking time ago. No, that's what was fucking NXT for the longest time. And now that seems to be completely dead.
Yeah. Um, you know, um, it's not even that I'm like, oh, I'll wait to see what happens. I'm kind of
Yeah.
like, ah, fuck, what's gonna happen?
Mhm.
This is more of my opinion where I'm just like, ah, shit. So,
And now
you
it's back to
know,
tape shows.
yeah,
Yeah. And I'm like, they're mad about spoilers being leaked. And don't be taped. You're doing at least okay live or trying to do okay live. You want to go back to tape shows. That just shows me,
sign off the internet, kids, 'cause you're about to find some shit out.
well, they're kicking fucking people out, which I'm just like, then have people sign NDAs. That's just it. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck happened between them being on the network and them going to the USA. It just fucking completely killed whatever momentum they had. This is a company that was killing it, man. They fucking saved the day when all the wrestlers were stuck in Saudi Arabia while Vince was trying to get his blood money and nobody could make it to the
Yeah,
fucking arena. And they're like, hey, Hunter, bring in NXT. Brought them in. And for the first time, fucking Adam Cole had a goddamn classic with Daniel Bryan. And now both of them might be fucking gone. That just sums up WWE right
it's
there,
a
man.
great moment that no one will ever see in WWE again. And again, you're like, why would you give your competition? I guess they're not your competition. Why the fuck would you give someone else the chance to have a match that now you can't have?
Because they're not big enough, man.
Yeah, they're not big. They're
They're not
small
brawn.
men. They're small, teeny tiny men that can never hold a title, apparently.
That was the other rumor with NXT that they only want what guys in younger or older. I forget what the fucking report was actually.
They want no shit. I can't remember. I thought it was no older than like
30
30.
and
And
big.
they want someone, yeah, they don't want you to be like 200. So they want no cruiserweights,
Yeah,
clearly.
because Vince still
So
cares about that division.
they want young giants.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
essentially.
ever happened in the history of time, but Vince McMahon is so fucking senile now, and nobody's telling the old man to just shut his mouth. That he's sitting there in his old rocking chair, being like, "Young men, big men." You're like,
Well, even the
uh
big men
huh,
that he got from NXT and do shit with. Look at Keith Lee. And I know Keith got sick with the Rona and all that. That fucked him up big time. God bless that he was able to get out of that situation. But it doesn't look like anything's different now that he's back. So they're in the same
no,
shit. And that motherfucker was huge. He had the biggest moment of that Survivor Series. He got put over by the crowd over a Roman Reigns, who's probably the star of the company right now. And they've done absolutely nothing. It's just insane to look back at that NXT Survivor Series and everything that built up to it, being like, oh shit, like these guys are legitimate. And for some reason, I feel like that was the moment where Vince was like, fuck this. Like they're
Yeah.
cheering more for these guys who are on a network show over Roman Reigns. Nah, can't do it. Gonna be fucking put them against AEW and good luck, Hunter. I really do feel bad for Hunter. I have really nothing bad to say about that
I
guy.
do.
Guy has a beautiful wrestling mind and understands the business, booked it the best way he possibly could, and they're literally just ripping every little thing out of him. You know, he fucking believed in Andrade, he believed in Aleister Black, he believed in all the guys he built up, and they just fucked it up in every single way possible. And look at the Adam Cole thing, just is insane, dude. That's a guy that should have been the champion already on the main roster. Instead, he's a free agent this Friday. And now, what do you think? He stays or he leaves?
I think he's gone. I think he's gone as we speak. Um, man, I hope he's gone as we speak. Because I don't think there is a saving grace to him going to the main roster.
Yep.
Now, do I think they're already done with his course in NXT? As of right now, yes.
Yeah.
That's not to say that he couldn't have still been going for the world title. I just think they ran the course with him and Kyle O'Reilly far,
yeah.
far into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That, if you ask my video game, the last time I played that universe mode, they wanted Kyle O'Reilly to go for the North America title. So,
Mm.
it's not that I don't see him as a world champion at some point. I still can see Adam Cole doing that far more than him.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking is that we would get Red Dragon as an actual fucking tag team title. But clearly we're not going to get that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I would now be very, very shocked because I do not see Adam Cole staying in NXT. I would be shocked if he showed up on SmackDown or Raw. I would be less shocked if he showed up in AEW.
Yeah.
I guess for that one, we'll see too. He does not have a weight though, right? He could show up as early as
You
their
could
next,
show up Friday night at
Wednesday.
Rampage if you want. You can show up
Friday,
Friday
yeah.
night. Yeah, that if you wanted to, and they don't come to a
Yeah.
contract extension or agreement or a new deal, then if you wanted to show up to Rampage on Friday night and pull a Lex Luger, he could fucking do it, and there's nothing they could do about it. They would just have to sit there and take it, and that's on them. I don't understand how you let him become a free agent to begin with. That's a guy that I would have extended way, way before it ever got to the situation. That's asset management by Vince McMahon to not realize that there's other companies out there that offer just the same passageway as his does now, and it could even offer him the same amount of money or even more. It's like, how could you not see the writing on the wall, man? And he could make the joke on every goddamn conference call, being like, "Well, they're just taking all our guys." Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You're the fucking one that doesn't want them to begin with. What the fuck else are they supposed to do to feed their families or feed themselves? Not fucking work because you fired them? That's the way the business goes. That's the way that everything's a spoke on the wheel. It's the same thing in the business. So Adam Cole, if he ends up in AEW, I feel the worst for Hunter, and I just feel like Vince is just another fucking idiotic move, where it's like they met. That was one of the biggest stories that they did meet a few weeks ago at SmackDown to have a heart to heart. From what I had heard, Adam didn't really like what was pitched to him by Vince, and that's not surprising to me at all. But he was offered more money than he would get at AEW, but that's something that could be fixed real quick. People forget that this isn't the WCW situation. It's not owned by TNT. This is Tony Khan's company. Motherfucker's loaded with money. His dad's never going to go broke. Motherfucker owns an NFL team. That family and that company is safe. And now they have the Warner Media money. They're fine. They could offer Adam Cole money. I think it comes down to this: like, do I want to be stuck in the main roster where I'm going to be miserable for another 4 fucking years? Probably going to get a push here and there, but it's going to be stopped short every single time because they're going to see me as too small, too short, too skinny, whatever. Or can I go to AEW, work with guys that I'm already known with or cool with? And oh, by the way, my fiance is the AEW Women's Champion, and me and her can hang out
Exactly.
all the fucking time. He's already always there backstage, according to some reports. I could just be there. And like I'm probably gonna fucking go over anyways, because I already did when I was in Bullet Club. It just makes too much sense. I think he'll end up in AEW, but if the money's talking and Vince makes a big push, maybe. I just like you said, I don't know what he could do on the main roster. I don't see a pathway or anything. What they're gonna do with him is just shove him if he goes SmackDown to the IC title fucking thing, and just have him stick there. And if he goes to Raw, it'll just be on a 3 hour show that he's really not doing shit either. So it's like to me, there's really no win for him to stay there, and staying in NXT really won't amount to anything. Anyways, so that
No,
story's done.
no, that's how I feel too, and that's why I kind of wouldn't mind if again, not even that I wouldn't mind. Wouldn't be upset at all if he decided to leave
Yeah,
or if he's already gone. I'd be like, right on, man, did it.
yeah. Do you? Yeah.
You know,
It is what
I
it
don't
is.
know.
I mean
It is.
that's on them. Let's finish up this podcast talking about the most watched movie trailer of all time. Beat the fucking record
Uh-oh.
of Endgame, which is shocking. It makes sense. Spider-Man, No Way Home. Man, it leaked on that potato footage that aired on Sunday.
That's what I
Very hard
heard.
to see. I didn't really watch much of it because the actual footage was just so shit. I'm not that desperate to watch it at that point. Like I'm not gonna watch a shitty version of it. And then it came out the following day at CinemaCon. Man, loved it. Loved every second of it. I like the direction it's going. I did not like. I didn't say this on my reaction video. I didn't like the fact that he just goes back to school. I thought that he was going to be on the run the
Yeah, it was
entire
kind of
movie.
weird.
Yeah, because they're like, "Oh, you killed
Like, fuck it.
Mysterio."
I go.
And it's like, yeah, go back to school. Like you're fine. I
I
didn't
gotta
really.
learn math, guys. Like,
Well, that's where I was at because I'm just like, why is he just chilling at school again? I thought
gotta
like,
go to PE on Thursday. Like,
high
why?
scores, man. Gotta live the high school life.
Goddamn millennials.
But I really did think that like it would lead off of the last one with JJ being like he killed Mysterio and just having them on the run. I didn't expect it to be so grounded where they were like back at school. So that kind of threw me off a bit. Um, what did you think of the trailer? And what moment made you be like, oh fuck, this is gonna be pretty fucking epic?
Um, I enjoyed the trailer for sure.
Mhm.
Think the moment there's a couple moments, but I think the moment that got me because I've heard a lot of people talking about who said what. There's a part where you start seeing things like changing. I can't remember exactly what the scene is, but you hear a voice say, "Be careful what you wish for, Parker." Now, do you remember that part?
Yeah, I thought it sounded like Doctor Strange,
That's what I've seen some people say.
which
I
is
didn't
weird.
think it sounded like him.
Really?
I thought it sounded more like almost like Willem Dafoe. And
Okay.
I got really excited because that was where I'm like, oh, holy shit. And then when we see the pumpkin bomb,
Mm.
I get excited. I've even had people talking or trying to say that, well, what if it's not the same green? It's not going to be the other one. Believe me, there's no fucking way. You know what I mean? And
They're not.
guess what? It's not going to be James Franco, guys.
I was about to say
So
they're not bringing Franco back.
they're not bringing Franco back for this type of movie, especially. So I'm interested in that. Definitely seeing Doc Ock was cool.
Yeah.
Seeing the teases of the other villains, very cool as well. So overall, there was a lot of moments that made me, excited and
Yeah.
definitely like piqued my interest.
Hmm.
Um, we'll see. There's a lot more that they obviously didn't show. There's a lot more that could be changed as well.
Yeah.
I don't see them, going the route of now people being like, what if this still doesn't turn out to be Toby and Andrew's comeback? I don't know if I see them going that route because of so much being put into this. You know what I mean?
The
Like
fucking Sony spoilers already
the
came out
fact,
fucking
yeah,
weeks.
the fact that like there's so much backstory to that. Can you imagine realistically if the movie comes out and they aren't in it?
It
I
would
feel
make
like
no fucking sense for them. If
it
they
would
did
make
go that route, it's like why it
because I
just
saw I saw a whole scenario where like what if all the villains are from the different movies, but
mm,
they just see Tom Holland as the same Spider-Man, the same Peter Parker. And I was like, I got so upset because I'm like, that's fucking stupid.
that would be
And then I'm
terrible.
like, and then I sit there, I'm like, Oh fuck! What if they do some shit
What
like
if they pulled that
that?
off? Um,
I,
that would kill it. That would really ruin everything
yeah,
they've teased so far and everything that's been fucking spoiled. Um, I think I love the trailer. Like I said, the pumpkin bomb got me. Seeing Doc Ock again got me pretty fucking big time because I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I'm 10 years old. I'm at a movie theater in 2004 and I'm watching Spider-Man 2 for the first time. And it made me appreciate what Sam Raimi built because I love Sam Raimi, always will. Um, but it is interesting. I think there's a lot of ways that movie can go. I will say this. I don't think I need another trailer. I think I'm good.
no,
I think I can go into that movie knowing what I already know and just be like, bring it on. Like whatever happens, happens. If they did go that route with the Peter Parker thing, I would hate that. But even then, like if that's the route they go, I'm willing to fucking go for it. Like fuck it, let's see what you could bring. I don't think I need another one. I think just showing the pumpkin bomb, showing Electro's lightning, which is now yellow, which people are like, what the fuck is like, but they're giving them a new look. And that was another thing we talked about before.
I've read about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
we've
talked about
discussed it.
that.
Yeah, they're giving them all new looks, and there's been some pictures already spoiled of William Defoe. And spoiler alert: if you guys don't want to hear this, skip ahead. Just click the button; it will go 10 seconds ahead. But there's a picture. It kind of looks like he's wearing a fucking purple hoodie in some of them, which I'm just like, oh shit! If you're gonna go the comic accurate way, which it looks like, again, Yellow Lightning, Electro, kind of some scenes of Sandman too, some scenes of Lizard, which again never really cared for the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man villains. Just never really piqued my interest at the end of the day.
Yeah, as much as I love those movies
Mhm.
and Andrew Garfield, I
Yeah,
did not care about the villains, like you said.
yeah. It could
So
have been recast, and I don't think I would have really minded if they went that different route. It'll be interesting to see what Rhino they go with. I have not really heard which Rhino it's going to be. If
is
it's
he supposed to show up?
yeah, Rhino's in it. That's been
Oh
the
wow.
rumor that's been going. I mean, unless they took him out and they just replaced him back with, if they bring back Jake Gyllenhaal's fucking Mysterio, and that's the route they go with. Um, but the biggest thing that we talked about before we recorded this a few days ago, we kind of said that it looked like Doc Ock was the main baddie, the way they ended the trailer. I checked in with some people that would know, and they're saying that Defoe is going to be the guy. Like that's going to be the leader of the Sinister, and it looks like
Okay.
he will be the one to stay long term in the MCU. Out of all of them, he would be the only one. That's what I was
Huh.
told. Which fine, I'm cool. I love William
I
Defoe, fucking legend.
I'd be
Yeah,
happy with it.
yeah,
I'm interested if it goes another route, but I'd be okay with that. Because I did think that was odd. I'm like, wow, they're really pointing Octopus as like the man.
yeah. They
Which
did. Yeah,
in some variations, if we go back to the cartoon, I guess they tried kind of saying at times he was the leader.
yeah.
You remember,
Mhm.
So I mean, this fucking mustard yellow and lime green suit.
Yeah, that kind of bummed me out
Um,
seeing him the first time because I'm like, it kind of looked too Spider-Man 2-ish because I'm like, just give him
mhm.
his fucking
Oh
actual
man,
suits. Like,
give him
pull
his
the
rain
trigger.
boots.
Dude, even Jamie Foxx in the goddamn spoiler pictures looks different from what he looked like in the Garfield, which is like the
It looks
weirdest
like he's
thing.
wearing a. He just looks like he's wearing a fucking like caution like jacket.
Yeah,
Like he looks like he's like a parking attendant. You're like, the
yeah,
fuck?
it was very weird to see those pictures. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm intrigued by it. That movie's gonna make a shit ton of money. My
Oh
biggest
yeah,
thing is I just hope it doesn't get delayed. There's rumors of Venom being delayed till January now, which doesn't bode well for Spider-Man if that's the case. Because at the end of the day, it's not Disney. Disney, if it was Disney, Disney would be like, "Fuck, releasing at Christmas. Either watch
yeah.
it at the theaters or watch it at home." Sony just operates completely differently, obviously. But I'm interested to see how they pull it all together. This movie's gonna have to be long as shit because it looks like there's a
Easily.
lot of shit happening in the beginning, a lot of shit with Doctor Strange, all those acid trips. I'm gonna dig that stuff. You throw in the villains, it also looks like it's gonna be a little bit crazier. There's a lot of depth, and if you bring in Toby and Andrew, you're gonna have to discuss that whole shit too. Another big one. A lot of the toys are out. They're calling them variants, like Loki, and I'm just like, yeah, okay,
Fuck.
that's where
I
I'm
don't
at.
want that.
Uh,
Yeah. That's interesting. Maybe who knows?
we'll see how they pull it off. But yeah, man, I love the trailer. I'm interested. Again, if there's no more other than that, then fuck it. I'm fine with that. I mean, that's the route they want to go.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, I would be.
I don't need to see much. I think I've seen enough of that movie to be like, everybody's gonna be there. Just the title, just with
Yeah.
fucking William Defoe. That's all you have to show really in the poster, being like, hey, he's here. And I think the hordes of fans are gonna go rushing to the theaters to finally see this movie. And it looks like it might. I don't know if it'll beat Endgame's number of box office success, obviously because of the pandemic. But I think it'll do decent. I think it's gonna be a real fucking big time movie, and it looks like it already. If
Yeah.
it beat the fucking trailer views for fucking Endgame, which is insane. But
That's
yeah, man.
very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. Fuck.
So,
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know what number this fucking episode is, but it's another episode.
lost count.
We
Lost
lost
count,
count.
guys.
We lost count. Hollywood.
Spotify doesn't remind us.
It really doesn't. Hollywood Uncensored podcast. A lot of exciting things. CM Punk is back. The professional wrestling game is getting very interesting. Spider-Man No Way Home looks like it's going to be an absolutely banger of a movie. If you like this video, slap that thumb. If you're listening to us on Spotify, download it, follow us. Links are in the description if you're watching us on YouTube. It's been a pleasure. My brother, Rossi Montgomery, thank you for being on as always. This is your boy Hollywood Hogan. We will see you guys in the very near future.